Well, hello everyone, and we welcome you to Birmingham Bible Church's Winning Wednesday. We are so glad that you have decided to join us here on today. Just wherever you are, if you're in your jammies, if you're at the office, in the break room, we're just glad that you're here with us. And so we want you to do us a favor. We need you to share this broadcast because all month long we are celebrating women and we are celebrating the accomplishments of women. And so, of course, many of you are watching here on Facebook. We're also on YouTube, which is BHAM BC. So you can look us up there. And we're also on Periscope/Twitter. So we want you to tell somebody and text somebody what we have going on here today. And so, like I said before, this is National Women's Month. And so we are celebrating women. We are celebrating everything that they have done here in society because let's face it, women are doing some amazing things. We are just killing it, y'all. Who would have thought that we would be referees and coaches in the NFL? Never thought I would see that day, but here it is. And so that just goes to show you that we have the power to do anything. And so we celebrate you. We celebrate Big Mama, Grandmama. We celebrate Nana, Mama, Auntie. We celebrate everyone who has done anything and has been successful at anything. And so, of course, today we couldn't. Last week we had Denise Hamilton, and she was a beast. So you got to go back and listen to her. But today we got my girl Nikki Ivory, and I call her my girl by, of course, she's friends with Pastor Mason, and so now she's kind of adopted me by default. But she
We're
is
family.
we're family. There we go, we're family. And what I like about Nikki is that she wears so many hats. I mean, if anybody knows how to be an entrepreneur, it is Nikki. She did our homeschooling. She is a guru on homeschooling. So she homeschools her child. She is a insurance broker. Did I get that right, Nikki?
Yes, yes, you did.
Yes. Okay. And she has just a lot of great talent. And so she is going to come on now, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and all that she does. And then she's going to talk to us about a woman and her entrepreneurship. Hello, Nikki.
Hello, let me go ahead and share my screen as well. And just let
Go
me
ahead.
know when you can see that.
Okay. Yes, I see it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, first off, thank you so much. I have to thank our beautiful and inspirational Lady Pam for inviting me to be able to speak to her audience today. I'm very honored to be here. Entrepreneurship is it's a very important topic to me. I absolutely love being an entrepreneur. So I'm very happy today to be talking about this subject. And today we're going to discuss how entrepreneurship can change the financial trajectory for your life. All right. Now, of course, we are celebrating Women's Month, as she just discussed. Let me go to the next screen here. Awesome. And I'm very excited that Birmingham Bible Church has taken time to recognize the importance of women in our society. You know, women, hey, we're coming up, okay? We're not like how we used to be, kind of in the back, the sidelines, in the background. We're kind of taking our position and making our mark on this world. So very excited that Birmingham Bible Church is recognizing the importance of women. The month of March is Women's Month, and I'm excited that women are taking charge of their lives and creating their own course of direction for their future. I thank God for blessing me with two spiritual and supportive parents. You see them here, who have made me who I am today. And then you'll see on the left here of the screen, this is a photo of 3 generations of feminine power, okay? I look forward to my daughter carrying on our strong family legacy of God, business, and servitude. And I think we have to start getting in the mindset now, ladies, about our generations, our legacy. Everything doesn't stop with us. What are we teaching our next generation? And I really do feel we need to be teaching them the importance of conducting business. So just a little bit about myself. I am a senior director of Legal Shield. I have a leader, I'm the leader of Team Empirepreneurs. And so Empirepreneurs is kind of a spinoff on entrepreneurship, right? Or entrepreneur. Letting people know we just don't want to build businesses, we want to build empires. And what we do here at Legal Shield, we do provide legal products, including wills, trial defense, credit monitoring, and gun owner protection. All right. And then
Hey, Nikki.
But it's my marketing company that builds brands one piece at a time through websites, business cards, flyers, social media posts, and much, much more. So let's dive right into it. What is an entrepreneur? Okay, or I say, what is entrepreneurship? Now that word sometimes kind of scares people because it's pretty long. But I do have a funny story about that word. Since the age of 6, I always knew I wanted to become an entrepreneur. My mom told me back then, if that's what you want to become, you have to know how to spell it. Okay. So I was 6 years old learning how to spell entrepreneur. I remember one day this one lady asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. People do that all the time when they see little kids. And I told her an entrepreneur. And she just laughed, right? Because she was like, does she even know what that is? And then she asked me to spell it. And of course, I was spot on and I spelled it correctly for her. And her mouth was just open and gasped. You can believe it, right? So I just want to let people know, like when a kid tells you their dreams and they tell you that's what they want to become, definitely listen up. I really feel kids learn at an early age of, they're attracted to what their destiny is. So definitely listen to little kids and don't dismiss their dreams, okay? Um, but what is entrepreneurship? So entrepreneurship is the activity of setting up a business or businesses, taking on financial risk in the hope of profit. All right, we're in it to make money. This isn't a nonprofit. We're in it to make money. Some synonyms are business person, founder, producer, and executive. So how does one become a successful entrepreneur? Well, there are many roads, right, to become an entrepreneur. I always like to say the first one is get up and sell something. I don't know if you've ever been on a carnival cruise, or it doesn't have to be carnival. I guess I go on a carnival, but on a cruise ship, or if you travel to a foreign country, but you'll see a lot of locals there trying to sell you stuff, especially little kids. They may be trying to sell you bottled water, some candy, or some maps, right? Those are little entrepreneurs in the making right there, because they just got up that morning, they had a product in their hand, and they went out and sold it to customers. Okay, so get up and sell something. Number two, create a formal business, and we'll teach you that shortly on how to start one this way. Okay. Number three, sometimes people used to be an employee or maybe had a trade and they started their own company. For example, maybe you were a real estate agent and now you're a real estate broker. Or maybe you were a painter and you started a painting company. Or a plumber. A lot of people from Texas, oh my gosh, right? They needed plumbing from our last snowpocalypse. So maybe now they're like, you know what? I can start a plumbing company. So definitely turn your trade into a business. Number four, purchase an existing business. A lot of people are like, why do it the hard way? Sometimes people see profitable, successful businesses, and they're like, you know what, let me give them an offer that they can't refuse. I actually had a friend who was local here in Waco. His wife had it's not a yogurt, but like a juicing company, and very successful downtown Waco. And she was given an offer that she couldn't refuse. So her company was bought out. Okay. Formal training, number five. Sometimes people want all the training that they need, so that way they can be successful right out the gate. So they go to college. Typically, entrepreneurship is found in your graduate schools. Okay, so if you want to learn how to become an entrepreneur, usually that's going to be found on a graduate level. But whatever your road or path is, get started. So 9 traits of a successful entrepreneur. Sometimes people want to know, do I even have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? Well, most entrepreneurs are motivated. They typically are hard-working individuals, and they motivate themselves in order to succeed. They have a lot of creativity, all right? No matter what industry you're in, staying in the number one spot requires you to think out of the box, okay? Persuasiveness. You have to be able to sell ice to an Eskimo. Vision. You have to be able to have a long-term vision. You can't think short-term at all. Versatility, risk tolerance, flexibility, and decisiveness. All right. 10 steps to start your own business. So I want everybody to go here when you have an opportunity. This is SBA.gov business guide. 10 steps to start your own business. And we're going to talk about that today. This is how you formally was started. And this is going to be good for any city, state that you're in, okay? But if definitely contact your local municipalities or tax office to be able to get the correct information, okay? So number one, the first thing you want to do is conduct market research. So an example of this would be maybe to cook some cake and allow people to taste test it. Or you can sell some at a local pop-up shop and document the sales and popularity of each flavor. You just want to get some metrics on how well your product is perceived or how well it's doing in the actual community, okay? Number two, write your business plan. This is a business plan is a blueprint or Bible for your business. With a plan, without a plan, you're drifting in the wind. And 2 places I want to give you that you can go to is Fiverr.com. That's F as in Frank, IVVER.com. You can pay someone to professionally write your plan for you, okay? Or you can go to B Plans, that's B as in boy, bplans.com, and use an online template. But whatever you need to do, definitely make sure you have a business plan. And this just kind of keeps you on track. It makes sure you're accomplishing all your milestones, all your business objectives. You can see where you're behind, where you're ahead. You just want to make sure you have something that's keeping you on target for success. Number 3, fund your business. This can be via your own savings, 401k, or via bank loan, or even crowdfunding. And I'm just starting to learn a lot about crowdfunding. For those who are African American, if you want to go to 10kproject.com, they are actually doing a lot of crowdfunding from anywhere from $10,000 up to $5 million. So if you have a great business idea, you can definitely, propose that to basically individual investors. And individual investors can invest as little as $100, and of course, up to the sky's the limit into your business. Okay. So definitely crowdfunding is a great way to raise money for your company. And of course, in exchange, you would give them a profit of what your company does. Okay, next is pick your location. I know in real estate, they say situs, situs, situs. Location, location, location is everything, okay? Make sure it is where your target audience is located. I know you may have a favorite neighborhood, in your local area, but if that's not where your customers are, don't make them drive 45 minutes to an hour to come see you if it's not necessary. Definitely make sure you are where your audience is. And if you're solely online, which a lot of people since as of last year are, that's totally fine too. Just ensure your SEO or search engine optimization is on point, okay? So that way you can get your website in front of your target audience. You just don't want your website in front of millions of people who don't care anything about cake, right? You want to make sure that you are strategically putting your cake business in front of those who want to purchase a cake that day, or maybe in the future, right, for a wedding or something like that. All right, next, choose a business structure. This is really important. And, this is when you definitely want to consult maybe an attorney or your tax consultant as well. So that way you are doing everything correctly when it comes to tax time. But do you want to be a sole proprietorship? Now, basically, that's just kind of like you yourself, right? So they say me, myself, and I. Okay, you're kind of doing it alone. With that, you can always use your own social security number. A lot of contractors kind of do that, right? Or independent guys. Partnership. Are you going into business with someone? All right. An LLC. This is when you start to make sure you put all the legal parameters in place. So just in case something happens, they really can't go after your personal possessions. You're kind of keeping your business and your personal life separate. S corporation. And lastly, do you want to incorporate your business? Again, consult with your attorney to choose the best structure for your business. And then you need to choose your business name. Sometimes people do this first, right? Which is fine. Someone will come up with a catchy name and then they'll say, hey, let's roll with it. That's fine. When you register your business, which is the next step, you have to go into that computer just to make sure your business name has not been taken already, all right? Usually you can register your business name up to 10 years. I tell people just do the max. They'll say, how long do you want to do it? 1 to 10 years. Well, you don't know how long you're really going to be in business. Just do 10 years, right? And so definitely do that. And then get federal and state IDs. This is very important, especially when you have registered as an LLC. But EIN number, and that's employer identification number. This allows you to apply for business loans and avoid using your social security number. That's very important, especially when you are trying to compete for RFPs or things of that nature, and you have to put this information down. You do not want to put your social security number down all the time and have endless people having access to that number. So even if you're a sole proprietor, definitely still get an EIN number, okay? Apply for licenses and permits. This is extremely important depending what type of business you are, right? Certain businesses require state and local permits before they can start business. Like for instance, a restaurant, they have to go through all these inspections, have different food permits. Trucking companies, same thing. So whatever industry that you're in, make sure that you're following those guidelines and you have those permits that's necessary for you to start your company. Open a business bank account. Please do have it separate from your personal. This is so important. Again, when you go to that bank, you will have your your articles of incorporation, or you register your business name. You'll have your EIN number. You'll have the funds that you need to be able to deposit into your account. Definitely make sure you open up a business account, okay? And that's really good too, because now you're establishing a rapport with the bank in case later on you want to have a bank loan or you want to take out a bank loan. Now they know you. This is really good, okay? And also you can establish bank credit via the banking institution as well. And then lastly is open up shop. This is always the most fun part of the business, right? Now you're introducing your company, your baby, right, to the world. And we're excited. We were ready to get to know her. We're ready to give our money to your company and help it grow. So we've talked about why we should, I should say how to start a business. And starting a business can be very, very profitable. Let's talk about the flip side of that. Let's talk about the problems with jobs, okay? Because the entrepreneur is actually a person who creates jobs, okay? But let's talk about people who are considered employees and who are not entrepreneurs, all right? So all Americans have been affected by the pandemic. According to a CNBC article that came out last week, it has been extremely tough for women. And it's really sad that we always get the short end of the stick, on anything. And then Black and Hispanic women in particular have suffered some of the steepest spikes in unemployment and largest drops in labor force participation rate since the pandemic began. Let's talk about some numbers. I'm all about numbers. Total employment for Black women, okay? Listen to this. Total employment for Black women is 9.7% lower than it was in February 2020. Okay, so it's gone down. Employment has gone down for us. And then the same for Hispanic women, close behind at 8.6% lower. And then respectively, though, employment for white men, white women, and Black men is down around 5%, okay? Anywhere from 5, 5.4, 5.9. So they're kind of the same, but we're on the higher end of the spectrum, okay, when it comes to unemployment. So once we are long into the recovery, employment levels and income levels may not fully recover for years. For years? Okay, well, that's not good, right? Because we all have responsibilities. We have mortgage payments. We have car payments. We have children's education. We have just paying for bills, food, electricity. We can't go for years without having a job, okay? Women are slightly more represented in more sectors like leisure and hospitality and food service. We've also lost healthcare jobs, particularly low-wage care jobs that are disproportionately held by women of color, okay? Historically, women who dropped out of the workforce during a recession to care for their kids often struggle to return. We see that now. Being unable to find a job in their prior role, may cause them to take a lower wage. So a lot of people who were doing great before the pandemic, earning X amount of dollars, are now having to return back to the workforce, taking a hit on their pay, okay? The COVID recession might end up even worse for women. Unlike prior economic downturns, the disease forced thousands of children out of school and back into home, where the duties of childcare continue to more often fall on women, okay? And especially on mothers and families that cannot afford childcare. Childcare is still expensive. It has not gone down. In certain areas, I should say pockets of this country, it's actually increased, okay? All the while people's funds, or I should say their salary, or either has decreased or is non-existent. So, and outside of all of this COVID stuff, ongoing disparities that women face in the workplace are not fairly represented in the C-suite. So, all of those C-level executive positions, we're not there. We're also not represented equally on the board of directors. A gender pay gap. This has still yet to be fixed. So men earn a higher salary than we do for the same exact job. It's harder to get promoted due to your sex. Double standards in our behavior. An alpha male is definitely promoted and advances a lot quicker than alpha women. Okay. So let's talk about why it's important to teach our daughters entrepreneurship. AI, or artificial intelligence, is taking more American jobs by the day. If you perform anything repetitive, consider that it will be replaced by AI shortly. Many companies have already gone to zero employee free zone and have robots completing work tasks. For instance, Kroger and Walmart have introduced completely automated stores, not one human being in sight. Military robots and robo-dogs have also been created to go into combat. You want to make sure your daughters have the technical skills and knowledge in AI, bio, nano, robotics, etc., to start businesses that creates and implements this technology for companies. They need to be the producer of these technologies. Only then will they be rewarded with wealth. Everyone else not in this position will be given impoverished lives, okay? And we want the best for our daughters. So again, when we talk about being entrepreneurs, having a vision, thinking long term, it's about strategy. This is something strategic that we need to do for our daughters today. We already know, hey, AI is replacing a lot of these jobs. So why would we educate our kids to learn repetitive work that's eventually going to be replaced? Okay, so since technology is not going anywhere, make sure that they are in the front of technology. Okay, therefore they're their owners, they're the producers. Then other companies will be buying that particular technology from them. Okay, and that way your children will be ahead. So how do women get ahead? By starting a business and earning extra income to support their families. Did you know that the United States has 12.3 million women-owned businesses? U.S. women-owned businesses generate $1.8 trillion a year. 40% of U.S. businesses are women-owned. Women started 1,821 new businesses every day last year. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so you can't say that we don't have the gusto, that we're not motivated, that we're not excited about empowering our families, because that's a lot of businesses that were started just last year. So if you're telling yourself you do not have the skills or education or personality to start a business, please stop with the self-doubt and start with the I can do all things through Christ Jesus attitude. If you do not have anyone in your family to look to as a role model, look to successful women in the Bible. All right. First, we're going to talk about Lydia. I love her story. This woman was very diligent in business. Lydia lived and worked in Philippi. She was a dealer of textiles colored with the purple dye, for which the region was famous. Her wealth allowed her to live independently in a spacious house. She was also a religious seeker. Though she was a Gentile by birth, Lydia worshiped God of the Jews. Okay, so as you can see here, you can be a woman, wealthy, and a worshiper of God. You don't have to sacrifice any of those. You can be all three. God wants us to live an abundant life. For more information about her story, visit Acts chapter 16, verses 12 through 15 and verse 40, along with Philippians chapter 1, verse 1 through 10. Many of you know about the story of the virtuous woman. Not only was she a virtuous homemaker, but a shrewd entrepreneur. And I love the fact that they use the word shrewd. Sometimes people try to make shrewd a bad word, and it's not. It means having or showing sharp powers of judgment or intelligence. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 16, it reads, I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and as innocent as doves. Women, we must be innocent like doves, but shrewd like snakes when it comes to business. This concept makes me think of the alpha woman. Typically, the alpha woman is demonized, but in reality, she is a shrewd businesswoman. Going back to our virtuous woman text in Proverbs chapter 31, verse 24, she makes linen garments and sells them and supplies the merchants with sashes. She sold these high quality garments at high prices and used the funds to increase her family's money chest. That lets me know she was a very successful woman because, first of all, I like how they said high quality. Her product had quality, okay? It just wasn't quantity, it was quality. And one thing we do know is that we as people, we will pay for high quality items, all right? And clearly she had a great reputation. People kept coming back to her for these items. And then the word got around, okay? So it was that word of mouth, that natural marketing that increased her, I guess, her presence in the region. And then, of course, here it says they were able to use the funds to increase her family's coffers, is what they say in the Bible, or I say money chest, okay? And today, society, it would be like her savings, right? You know, where you store up your wealth, okay? So maybe you're storing up your wealth in a stock market. Maybe you're storing your wealth in a 401k, wherever, right? But she was able to increase that for her family. And just like these great two women in the Bible, you can achieve the same thing. You have more freedoms and opportunities today than these ladies did in the past. And I love that. These ladies were successful. They didn't let that time and how women perceived, how people perceived women back then stop them from them achieving their goals. So we have zero excuse today. All right. So now that you're a girl boss, okay, making your own money, doing your own thing, you're in business. I just want to give you some tips so that we can be very successful in what you do. All right. So let's go start with tip number 1. Overcome challenges. 2020 has shown you that challenges are bound to happen for not just your personal life, but also your business life. And then if you don't have everything together in your business life, it can affect your personal life and vice versa. So you want to make sure, again, that in your business plan that you have, you know, your contingent strategies in case something happens. So as of today in Texas, like literally today, businesses are open at 100%, and no one in Texas has to wear a mask. Okay. So of course, if you were in Texas last year, you know, everyone had to wear a mask, and businesses may were open at a 25% capacity or 50% capacity. So those companies had to change their business model to still be successful or profitable. So now you're back at 100%, but you still want to make sure for liability purposes that you're still doing everything right to protect not only your staff, but also your patrons. So again, you always want to have, okay, what happens if this happens? I need to have a strategy for that. What if, for instance, I know that this week and next week is spring break. What happened if the COVID cases go back up and our governor says, hey, look, we have to go back down to 25% and everyone has to wear a mask again? Are you able to adjust and accordingly? Or are you going to have a problem with that? So you want to make sure that you have practices, you have guidelines in place that are very clear. So in the event you have to adjust very quickly, everyone on your team and as well as your clients are on the same page. All right. Get the word out. So we just talked about how Lydia was able to get the word out about herself. You know, it's great if you have the best product, if you have the best service, but if no one knows about it, you're not going to be very profitable, are you? So you have to get the word out. Speaking engagements, I put down here. This is what I did last year, but there's many ways to get the word out. Of course, we have so many different marketing and advertising tools that you can use. Word of mouth is always the best form of marketing. So I always say have excellent customer service. Treat each customer as if they're your only one, right? That they're your baby. Because when people feel that you know that you care about them in particular, and they don't feel like a number and they feel special, man, anything you can do to swank up their experience, even if it's just something really little, by just giving them some cookies in their bag, you know, or just making sure you say their name each and every time you see them. Whatever it is for you and your business model, make sure you do that, because once the word gets out about your company and how great it is, wow, the sky is the limit for the profitability of your company. All right, provide news your clients can use. So a lot of people here today definitely like to use online marketing tools to be able to send out, or email marketing, excuse me, to be able to send out to their clients or post items on their website. Now, a lot of companies are even asking clients, is it okay if we use your website to promote
Hey, Nikki.
$4.99 special on this new St. Patrick's Day cake, right? Or cookie. So this is
Hey, Nikki.
your establishment and see a lot of people not wearing masks, or maybe this would affect them if they say, well, now actually I would prefer, curbside or to go instead of coming in. So you want to make sure that you're always giving valuable information to your clients. All right, get involved in a community. This is extremely important. I just feel this is something you should do anyway. I feel if you're in the community, whether it's online or physically in a community, it doesn't matter. If you're in the community, you should be giving back to the community. All right. It should be this whole circle of love kind of thing, reciprocity that we should exhibit. And so definitely participate and volunteer in certain events. I'm going to talk about later about some associations that you can join that will allow you to do that in case you don't have any on your own. But just start thinking creatively about what type of industry you're in and how you can give back. If you're doing anything with kids, maybe you sell clothes to kids or shoes. Well, you have the sky's the limit for you with anything with children, especially when it comes to school. Like maybe you can do backpack giveaways, or host something during spring break for the kids to attend, just to give their parents some time off, right? But just be creative when trying to figure out what volunteer events you should participate in. Also, maybe you want to either host a scholarship or donate to some scholarships. I know sometimes people like to purchase tables and things of that nature at banquets, and if that's overall going to help fund scholarships and grants for children later on, that's perfect too. So just do your homework and find out what's best, and that's still in your line of industry, right? If you're dealing something with animals, you may not want to do something with children. You may want to stick with something with animals. So just make sure it all makes sense. All right, host a launch party. So that goes back to when you're opening up your company, and then you have maybe product and services. This is fantastic. This is a great way to introduce people to your company. Okay, host a launch party. There's so much fun now. People are starting to come back together again, even if it's just in small groups. Eventually, that'll get larger and larger as this year moves on. But you can even host virtual launch parties as well to get everybody involved, so that way they can get to know you and your company, as well as get to know the type of products that you offer. And then I say start a rewards club for your clients. This is really good too. You kind of see it already when you go to the fast food restaurants or even some of the nice restaurants. They may have reward programs. Sometimes people like to either stamp or punch, or now is virtual on your phone. You just type in your phone number, right, and you're logged in when you go to a certain coffee or bistro place, right? But yeah, so what happens is every time you patronize that particular company, you are rewarded with a star, or maybe a free drink, or maybe a free pastry, or whatever it is for them, right? But I love this because it gives extra incentives for your clients to patronize your company, but then also to talk about that to their friends and family who may also want to benefit by having the same access of that rewards program. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about some associations. And this is very important. You would definitely want to make sure that you are amongst people who think like yourself, okay? So if you're an entrepreneur, you really shouldn't be in a room filled with employees. It's just a whole different mindset. Employees are not thinking about the bottom line of the company, right? They're thinking about their paycheck. They're thinking about hourly, right? They're not thinking about what's going to happen, 10, 15 years from now. So they're not going to make strategic moves for that. They're thinking about, okay, the next 2 weeks, next month, maybe next year. So you want to make sure that you're definitely amongst people who are just like yourselves. Let's start off with the first association I want to talk about, or first business resource, right? So business resources that would be great for you all to check out individually. And I did not post the websites here just because it would have been too cluttered. But definitely, if you want to screenshot this or come back to this particular podcast and check it out and go do your own research, you're going to find so much information, okay? But these are going to be beneficial business associations for you to join to move you forward. So let's start off with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. This is the world's largest business organization representing interests of more than 3 million businesses of all sizes, sectors, and regions. Small Business Administration. The U.S. Small Business Administration has delivered millions of loans, loan guarantees, contracts, counseling sessions, and other forms of assistance to small businesses. And as you probably have heard from last year, they were one of the staunch supporters of the PPP, right? Even to this day, they've been very vocal of making sure, especially minority-owned businesses. I think yesterday was the last day to register for the PPP for that 2-week window. But they definitely wanted to make sure that everyone had a fair chance to get access to the PPP loans, okay? SCORE, and this is maybe something you haven't heard about, but it's a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting small businesses through mentoring and education. Now, this is awesome. They offer free business plan templates and guides are available. So this is really good here if you wanted to go to them for the free business plan templates. And then the National Business Association, their mission is to bring together the small business community and the self-employed and the free enterprise system. Kaufman Index of Entrepreneurship. So this offers in-depth measures of the people and businesses that contribute to America's overall economic dynamism, right? So startup activity, Main Street entrepreneurship, and growth entrepreneurship. I really like that growth entrepreneurship, right? Because sometimes when people start off, they're kind of more mom and pop. But I love the fact that they actually have a team here that's like, okay, let's see how we can take this mom and pop, business and turn it into an Elon Musk type of corporation. All right, and then International Society for Performance Improvement. This is the leading association dedicated to improving productivity and competitiveness in the workplace. They represent performance improvement professionals throughout the United States, Canada, and 44 other countries. So they are definitely global, and you have to be able to measure that. I think some employees know about KPIs, right? And so that's a measure of your performance, and usually that's discussed annually for your job reviews. But it's important from a business standpoint to have those KPIs for your employees so you can see where your business is maybe lagging in nature, where it needs to improve, or where it's performing very well. So this is really great for your company to be a part of so you can adopt some of these same standards for your company. Informs. The Institute for Operations Research and the Management Science is the largest society in the world for professionals in the field of operations research, management science, and analytics. Again, analytics, we love to have those, we need those reports, we need that research, right? Because research can drive change for your company and help you make smarter business decisions. Business USA. So this actually provides resources for starting a business, financing, importing, exporting, and more. And I love that importing, exporting. We don't do enough of that, I don't feel, in the Black community. I know I personally have my import and exporting certification, and I haven't even used it, right? So I've seen the back end of it, and I'm just like, wow, this is pretty amazing. If we can start doing that with our other brothers and sisters across the world, man, this would be a game changer for us. So this is something we really should start to look at too. Don't limit your products just to local customers or national customers. Why not take that thing overseas? Okay. So definitely check out Business USA to be able to help you with that. And then lastly, American Business Women's Association. This is a very prestigious national organization established for working women and women business owners. So again, being around other business leaders who are women who are just like you, who want to move their business forward. Okay, top 11 women organizations. So since this is the month for women, what are some women organizations that you can join? Okay, and I'm not going to go through all of them here, but these are some, the top 11 one that we have in the nation. Okay, and there's a lot of advantages of joining associations. Some of that includes leadership, education, networking, support, and national recognition. They have workshops, training sessions, annual conferences, and more. You can connect with like-minded individuals and see your business take off. So some here that you may, if you kind of notice the theme here, there's a lot of international ones. And then there's some for executives. They have some that's geared to minorities. So you see Minority Business Development Agency or Asian Women in Business. So, if you're African American, you may want to find one for African American. If you are Hispanic, you may want to find one for Hispanic, okay? And they are out there. Association for Women in Science, Financial Women's Association, and National Association of Women Sales Professionals. All right, so these are the trade organizations. So here I'm listing industry-specific associations that you can join. So for instance, if you are a real estate agent, joining the National Association of Realtors would be in your best interest. I have personally received referrals and business opportunities from organizations that I'm a part of. They also offer you the chance to give back to your local community. So when I told you earlier about how you can volunteer, like my particular organization, which is called NAIA, okay, but it's NAAIA, so the National African American Insurance Association. But basically, we have a volunteer program called Invest, and what we do is we go into inner city schools, and we have pretty much it's like a 16-week program, and we teach the children everything there is to about insurance. And I love that because we have various insurance leaders on each level, from adjusters to business owners to underwriters, and they come in and they dissect the insurance industry. And I love that because it gives these kids an opportunity to know more about an industry that they otherwise would not have access to. And so I'm saying all that to say a lot of these organizations do the exact same thing, but for their own industry. So as you can see here, they have something for teachers and math. They have, of course, another one for insurance agents here, chemical society, social workers, and medical and more. And so that's what I wanted to just kind of let you guys know. The sky is the limit, okay? The time to become a part of the $1.8 trillion woman-owned industry is now. It's time for you to become an entrepreneur. So don't wait. If you, like I said, if you were hesitant in the past, don't be. There's so many resources here. There's so many women in business for you to connect with, to bounce ideas off of, and to get started. So it's been a pleasure talking today about entrepreneurship.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Well, once again, you have not failed to disappoint us. This was such a great and in-depth PowerPoint presentation, really talking about how to start a business, how to be successful in it. The tips you've given us, the resources has all been wonderful. And I want to say this, Nikki, because a lot of times women, we know we produce life. And so some of us are kind of stuck on that. Well, we can have children, but that's not the only production that we can do. We can produce businesses. There are a lot of things that are birthed in us, and so a lot of times we're just afraid. We're thinking, well, I can't do it. A lot of, and we don't know how to shift. Well, we shift all the time. We shift from being mom to being wife to being our full-time job to being okay, coming home and something's out of whack. We're always shifting, but we need to learn how to shift in this kind of area. And
Right.
so this was great information.
Thank you.
I like what you said about, well, everything was great. Customer service. And that's one thing I want to talk about, because a lot of us, we get the business going, but sometimes
Mhm.
the customer service may be a little bit lacking. I
Yeah.
can't tell you the countless times I've tried to order something and nobody got back with me, or the product wasn't right, or just whatever. But that customer service is so important. I did want to ask you a question.
Sure. Go right ahead.
And so, I'm not sure if you touched on this or not, but a lot of times we have a business and we're trying to do everything, the financial, the product, the social media. And I think a lot of us need to focus on building our strength and maybe hiring our weaknesses or
Mhm.
delegating our weaknesses to other people in the family. Can you say more about that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it's very interesting you say that. I know there was this big argument in the past, because I was taught this way too, that whatever your weaknesses are, you need to build upon those. And as of, I would say maybe 2 years ago, that's not what our billionaires are saying. Okay. Our billionaires now say whatever your strengths are, you build upon your strengths. Okay. God has given us each unique strengths. Okay. So we need to build up on those strengths. Everything else you can outsource that, if you will, to other people who that's their strengths. Okay. So for instance, I listed Fiverr. I love Fiverr.com. Okay. And that's before, I really started to know more people in my industry and part of my associations where I was networking. Okay. But this is a great website to go to because it shows you people and their strengths. Okay. They have people to do the marketing for you. They have people to create those creative work for you, or to create videos or whatever you need, whatever you need for your business that maybe you otherwise would not want to do. Outsource that. Okay. And then that way too, you can't do everything. You just can't do everything. We don't have enough time in a day. We just can't. Okay. So you want to make sure you're maximizing your hours as much as possible and staying focused on your target goals. Okay. So you focus on what you're best at doing, whatever that is. Okay. And you let everyone else focus on what they're best at doing. And then by doing that, it's going to just lift you higher even quicker.
Yes, and then check up on, have a little meeting, come to Jesus meeting, and make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
You have to do that. No, like they said, well, who's that? Ronald Reagan. He said, "Trust but verify." Okay, there's
There
nothing
you
wrong.
go.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And then one last question, I think. So for the business owner, and I'm kind of looking in the chat room a little bit. They believe they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing, and how can they find new customers? Or I know you mentioned social media, but is there something different they can do? So for example, a person who, let's say, sells dresses. Okay, so a lot of times they may post their dresses. Should they do something different, like have a live of people modeling the dresses? I mean, what are some different ways that people can really get new customers?
Mhm.
Can you speak to that?
Sure. Well, one thing I always like to do is interview your current customers. So have a monkey survey, do a survey out to your existing clients, okay? And ask them what they like about your company, or, least like about your company. What would they like to see? How would they, maybe is there a different way they would like to be approached, right? Or, like you're talking about fashion shows, or showing things on live, probably on Facebook Live, things of that nature. You can even list some ideas and then let them pick the ones that would be the top 3 for them, right? So now you have a little bit more idea, like, oh, okay, actually, I was thinking that Facebook Live is the way to go, but really everyone over here is saying, wow, they want to do X, Y, Z. Okay. So that kind of can show you a little bit insight, give you a little bit insight information. But then another thing I think was great too is being a part of those associations. And the reason why I say that is because let's just say you're a part of, a textile or fashion type of association. By going to those trainings or going to some of those workshops, they give you ideas that you may not have even thought of. Now you're talking to other business owners like yourself, or maybe you're hearing these business owners speak to you and they're giving you all these ideas where you're like, oh my gosh, I never even once thought about that. Mm-hmm. And so I love that. That's personally happened to me, and I'm a big note taker too, So I'm like, wow, this is great. And then I go back and then I try it, and then maybe it works for me, maybe it doesn't. But at least now you're exposed to some new information that you can try with your customers. And again, going back into that whole market research, make sure you take plenty of analytics. If you can record that information, how many people attended, how long did they watch it, how many sales were produced as a result of this particular avenue. That's important. People just kind of throw stuff out there and, oh, great, I made 10 sales today, and then just go to the next one. No. You need to take some time. I know it takes a minute to capture that information, but it will help you in the future. And you want to make sure that you're moving in the right direction, not just spinning your wheels, right? Just because you feel this is the way you have to do it. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully that helps.
No, that was good, because last week Denise talked about, and it just kind of goes into perspective. What you said is that, reach out to someone, and whoever's really good at this, and say, hey, I want at least 15 minutes of your time to see how I can better my business. And so, like you said, hooking up with someone else who's done it, who's very successful at it, and see if there's something that you're missing. I'm part of this clubhouse I just got into recently, and they always have those different rooms on there, and all kind of different topics. I'm not a person who sells fashion, but they have stuff like that in there, and they're like, women who've done such and such. And so you get in there, and there's so much information that you can get from being a part of that. So I hope we covered the question of the person that was online and watching. So, this was great. Thank you so much, Nikki, for volunteering your time. And so tell us one more time how we can reach you. I know you have your screen up there, but your social media and email and all that good stuff.
Oh, no problem. Yes, so they definitely can reach me on social media. You can go to facebook.com/AI Mutual, or you can go to aimutual.com, okay? And you can always do an online quote there, or you can email me directly at nicole.ivory@aimutual.com.
Sounds good. I just thought of one last question, Nikki. And so a lot of times during this feed, we have some older people. And I was looking at a post a few days ago, and it talked about how Morgan Freeman and Samuel Jackson got a really late start in their acting career. And so you want to say something to our seniors, to kind of encourage them that, hey, since you're making all these sweet potato pies, and we have a lady at church, and she's probably watching. I think she is. She makes this great concoction. If you have a cold or anything, I tell you, it knocks it right out. And I'm just thinking, you need to be selling this.
You need to do something with that. Yes, let's not sit on it. When God gives you a great idea, right, he's giving it to you for a purpose. And sometimes he gives us those great ideas later in life, right? And one thing I would say is for my senior citizens, they've already had a wealth of knowledge, a myriad of experiences that some people in their 20s and 30s have not had access to. So that would make them even more successful at what they do, okay? And then they probably have more exposure to more networking, more people. So I think it's fantastic. And there's been so many I should say, large corporations of CEOs who actually started after their 50s, after they were 50 years old. So I don't want people to ever look at the number, because at the flip side of that, there have been kids like Ryan from YouTube who's become a millionaire. So I don't like to put age on anything. And I feel unfortunate that we've grown up in a society where there's always been an age placed on everything, right? And it makes you feel bad, like, oh my God, I didn't do this by this age, so I can't be successful, or I missed my opportunity. I'm just like, forget that, throw that out the window, put that in a trash can, no more with the age stuff, right? We all can be successful at any age. And so I say, go for it. I say, definitely have that launch party, right? Invite us all to it, whether it's virtual or physical. And especially even what you were just talking about with that concoction, things like that are a product, man, she could take that on Shark Tank. Of course, definitely make sure you patent it, but patent anything before you go on Shark Tank, because they will steal it. and people who are looking at it will steal the idea, okay? But definitely, take that. And there are so many people who want to buy items like that, they love products that are just packaged, ready to go, where they can just put that on a website and people can purchase it, in bulk. They love things like that. So that's the type of product you want to take on Shark Tank. So I say go for it, especially right now too. This is perfect time with COVID. This pandemic. People are a little bit more heightened awareness when it comes to their health and want to stay healthy. So tell her to go for it. Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. We're just going to go through a couple of announcements just for all those who are watching. Then we'll piggyback up with you in just a minute. But for those of you who are watching Birmingham Bible Church, the theme for this year is Reconstruction 21. And also just to let you guys know, back in January, you have to go back on our page a little bit, but we did a Reconstructing Your Business Summit. So please feel free, go back and watch that. There's also some other people that we had on there who can also share some great insight into how to grow your business. And then the way you can watch us, of course, is on YouTube at bhambc.org, and on Facebook, which is what you all are doing right now, most of you guys. Every Sunday, Pastor Mason is doing a series on the power of a woman, because all month long, we are celebrating the power of women. So that's every Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. And then, of course, we've heard from the very wonderful and eloquent Nikki Ivory on today. And next week, we're going to come at you a little different, ladies. We're going to talk about a woman and her fitness. Because ladies, we can have the business, we can have all these different businesses, but we need to have the physical agility to be able to keep up with what God is doing in our lives. So we got to make sure we're healthy, y'all. So next week, we're going to have Miss Pam Sigmund. She is a Zumba instructor. My God, she was mine pre-COVID. I tell you what, I had to stop, take breaks. She's just so energetic. So I'm so looking forward to hearing from her. And then don't forget about all of our virtual hangouts that we have for our seniors, our men, our children, our teens, women. We're going to start having family game nights. But tomorrow we're going to have a small group. It starts tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. It's called The Invisible War. And this series is about fighting temptation. We all have it. Nobody is exempt from it. So this is going to be a great lesson. It's going to be about 6 weeks long, but it starts tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. If you want that information, we're going to put it out on our group meets and different communication apparatus we have out there. But you can text 205-451-7866. That's 205-451-7866 if you want to be included in that. And then we are still in our 40 days of power through fasting and praying. We are all believing God to do some miraculous things in our lives. So we ask that you join with us so we can be on together and on one accord. If you want the guidelines to our fasting and praying, just look on our website at bhambc.org. Scroll at the top to message outline, and then you'll see the fasting guidelines document. Because during this time, we are praying for our president. Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, the entire administration and their families. So continue to pray for them. 100 seconds, guys, for 100 days. And then a couple of upcoming events that we have. We are still making use of this virtual space and still want to be connected to our family. So we are having a Resurrection Children's Basket Drive-By. So all the children will receive Easter basket or a basket on April the 3rd. That time is going to be announced. We're going to let all of you parents know when that is. And then also in April, we have a virtual etiquette class. We are having that for all our kiddies. Also, parents, please sign your children up the same way. You can email Lady Pam at tcowi.org. We have 4 great speakers. We have one who's going to talk about Zoom etiquette. A lot of kids are on Zoom, so we need to know what is appropriate and what is not. And then we have some self-care etiquette. As I said before, children, it is okay to take baths. I know you're at home all day, but taking baths and putting on deodorant and brushing your teeth is very important. And then we have Miss Karen. She is going to be talking about cell phone etiquette. And then Miss Shada is going to be talking about communication etiquette, how to communicate to others besides saying, huh, what? Let's not do any of that. Let's learn how to talk and learn how to present ourselves in an excellent manner. And then on April the 16th, we are having our virtual business expo. That's going to be immediately right after church on Sunday. Of course, you can contact Lady Pam at tcowi.org. We have 10 spots available. We've already had a paparazzi, so that place is taken, but all others can please feel free to join. And then the last thing we have is don't forget our prayer room call. It is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 a.m. The number is 515-604-9324. And the access code is 381179. Again, our website is bhambc.org, so you can look at all of these announcements if you missed any. So thank you so much, Miss Nikki.
Thank you. Thank you
This is
so much for having
available.
me.
You are so welcome. Thank you. May God bless you and have a great day. Thank you, viewers, for watching. Everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. Thank y'all.
All right,
All
you as well. Bye bye.
right. Bye bye.